Hey guys, always Dizzy here. I'm back with my round 3 report from the 2022 BC Open. As a quick disclaimer, if you haven't watched the first two videos, you might want to watch them. You might want to watch them now because I'm going to have a little spoiler. So, as a reminder, I lost my first two games, and so I wasn't feeling so great. I had arrived a day early to the tournament, so I was there for a full 2 days, and I hadn't won a single game yet. And the pairings went up late on the second day. When I say second day, the second day that I was there. So the pairings went up after round two, late after round two, and I actually got a bye. And oh my God, that feels so bad. You lose your first two games, and then you get a bye. So it's like you don't get a chance. You don't get a chance for immediate redemption, right? Because when you lose your first two games, the only thing you want to do is get a win and get on the board and to start making up for those losses. To get a bye, yeah, technically you get 1 point for that, but it's not earned, right? And you don't get any rating points for it or anything. So it sucks. Also, when you're traveling, a bye hurts even more because you've spent a lot of money and time to travel to the tournament. It's different when you're just playing close to home, where you can just go back home and do whatever. So I was actually really, really upset that I got the bye. And then I went back to sleep. I didn't set my alarm or anything because I wouldn't have to show up until round 4, which wasn't until 3 p.m. And then I found out that they changed the pairings like an hour before the round. So I had to quickly jump into the shower and get ready for I was all groggy. I kind of slept in. And so, yeah, I had to very quickly get ready. I'm going to, or should I save that for round? No, I'll do that now. Yeah, so I'm going to show some footage of the playing hall. I guess I'll do that now while I'm still talking, and I'll play the video feed over me talking. Starting to work on my video editing skills a little bit, but it's the same playing venue as last month, except they opened up the ballroom that we have. We have the full ballroom because we had I think 218 people. So it's a very big playing space. And I quite liked it because, when you're walking around, you can walk to the other end of the playing hall and watch the under 1,000 section play, which is always entertaining. Their games are always entertaining. And it just gives you a lot of walking area while still being in the playing hall. Yeah. Okay. So I got paired up against Eric. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention here, and let me just switch my window, is that you might notice the board is different. So in this video, I decided to use the chess-based board as opposed to Lichess because I noticed the board looks fine in my videos if you're watching it on a small resolution, like on a phone. But if you try to watch it on a larger resolution, like on a monitor or TV, because I blow up the board and resize it in the video, it gets a little bit fuzzy. So the board in ChessBase is larger on my screen, and I'm hoping it looks better. The only downside is that it's a little bit harder for me to draw arrows and move around. It's just a little bit clunkier using ChessBase. But let me know what you think if it looks a little bit crisper if you're using a larger resolution. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm playing Eric Gu, rated 1409. I was white. I played him once before, about 3 years ago, in one of my, I think it was my second tournament as an adult. And I ended up beating him in that game, but he actually flagged. So if I recall correctly, he actually had a better position, I think even winning, but he did flag. He was under major time trouble in that game. And so I was pretty confident playing against him. He is rated 1400 and he's an adult. He's also a chess organizer. He runs some tournaments as well in, pre-pandemic times. Okay, so with an hour to spare, I didn't have any time to prepare. And I played e4. I wonder, I should look how to get rid of these arrows. Let me see really quick to do that. I don't think... Okay, it's going to take me too long to figure... Oh, it removed itself. Okay, I don't know why I did that, but... Oh, did it just stay there until I click something? Oh, I see. I have to left click to get rid of the arrow. Okay, kind of annoying. Anyways, so yeah, we have a Sicilian on board. I'm just so used to using Lichess. It's weird. Okay, nothing fancy yet. I'm going to get my score sheet out. Oh no, maybe not. I'll just keep it there. I've got my score sheets in front of me here, where I record the times, but I don't think it's necessary. Okay, knight f6, knight c3, and then he played the dragon, which surprised me a little bit. I don't get that much practice against a dragon for some reason online. I don't see it very often. Like, I hear it's popular at the lower levels, but I seriously do not see it that often. So the downside is I don't get much practice against it. Bishop e3. I'm just reading my notes here. Okay, and then he played knight c6. So knight c6 is not unusual. I've seen it before, but it's not the most popular line. Bishop g7. Oh, see, I don't know how to do arrows. I can't draw arrows. Oh, is it shift? Alt? It's alt. Okay. So wait, can I do different color arrows? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. If anyone has anyone that hasn't used ChessBase, it's really unintuitive to use. That's why. Okay, so where was here? Yeah, sorry. So the main line is just bishop g7, but knight c6. And most of the time, it will transpose into the main line. I was a little bit suspicious though with him playing knight c6 first. Like, did he have some weird sideline planned? So I was slightly cautious, but really the move order doesn't really affect things most of the time. So I did not play bishop h6. That was a mouse slip there. Okay, just let me make my move. There we go. Oh God, what did ChessBase do? Okay. There we go. Okay, sorry. So I played f3, and then he played bishop g7. We did transpose into the main line. Queen d2, castles, castles, d5. So after d5, I thought for 7 minutes. This is all main line, but as I said earlier, I do not face a dragon very often. So I just had to make sure I was following theory correctly. I was trying to remember the move orders and so on. I was just being very, very cautious about that fact. So I did spend 7 minutes. It probably made my opponent a bit confident because we're move after this is move 9 for black, and suddenly I'm thinking for a while. But I was just trying to make sure I play, I don't screw up. So I did remember the correct move after a while. E takes d5, knight takes d5. And again, on my next move, I spent another 5 minutes. Again, just trying to make sure that I remember the move order correctly. And I did find it. Knight takes c6. It's all main line. B takes c6. Bishop d4. So here, part of the reason I was thinking for a while on those other moves is because I was trying to remember. There's a bit of a, I don't want to say trap, but a dangerous line that I was trying to avoid, which I correctly did avoid when I played bishop d4. And that is knight takes d5. How do I do my arrows? Knight takes d5. So knight takes d5 does win a pawn, but it gives more than enough compensation after black plays queen c7. So, whoops. I hate... See, if I left click on the board, it makes the only legal move. But Lichess doesn't do that. So anyways, what I was trying to show is if you win, try to go for the pawn, there's this line where black plays queen c7, and white did not regain, black does not regain the pawn, but black, it's essentially a gambit. Black gets these really open lines against white, and I forget the exact moves after this, but essentially, if I can draw the arrows again, black is going to bring in all of his pieces. He has all of these open diagonals and files against white, and white basically has to play super precise for the rest of the game, and doesn't even really have an advantage. So it's pretty much just all downside. Like there's not really any upside. I mean, yes, white's up a pawn, but it's too dangerous. So, and I think the eval is like equals. So I was trying to avoid that line, which I did when I played bishop d4. I hope it doesn't save this because I'm making all these moves after. But okay, so he took, and this is not main line, but it's close to main line. So this I wasn't so familiar with. This line, the main line here is e5, and then black can also sack the exchange by not protecting his rook after white plays bishop c5. So e5 is the main line, but he took here on d4, and he did that pretty quickly. In fact, he was whipping out all of his moves so far. Like he had more time than he started with. So this is still theory, but this line I didn't know. I was familiar with the e5 line. So I took, and then queen b6. So my next move, I think I played a little bit hastily. I don't think I was super clear-headed when I played it. It's not a terrible move, but well, I played knight takes d5. So obviously, if black takes my queen, I just win. I just win his knight, because then I have this intermezzo or Zwischenzug Zug of knight takes e7 here. But if black just takes my knight, this is a little bit too equalizing, this line. And black actually gets to repair his pawn structure a little bit, slightly, because now he has 2 pawn islands instead of 3, right? So actually the main line is knight a4, which makes total sense. Basically, we're keeping the we're keeping black's worst pawn structure intact here. He has 2 isolanis on the A and C file, and yeah, we keep that intact if black trades queen. And if he doesn't trade, well, either way, he's going to keep these 2 weak pawns. Wow, chess base, come on. Yeah, I gotta remember to not left click on the board. I gotta click on on the side of the board to get rid of the arrows. Okay. So in the future, yeah, knight a4 keeps a bit of an advantage for white. So I shouldn't have taken. So this is what happened in the game. He took, queen takes b6, a takes b6, and king b1. And here I was feeling overall, like at the time, I didn't know that knight a4 was better. And I was feeling fairly good. I think, let's see how much time I had in move 16. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I had 67. I had an hour and 7 minutes, and my opponent had an hour and 15 minutes. So the time was fine. And positionally, I thought it was fairly equal. I thought maybe white was a smidgen better, but overall I felt pretty good. I felt comfortable. I was content. I liked my pawn structure better. Okay, and my opponent played h5. And then I was very, very happy about my next move. I was very proud of my next move. And let's see, how long did I spend on that? Just again, looking at my score sheets here. Okay, I didn't spend that long, but yeah, my next move I was really happy about. I think I forget if it was the best move or not, but it was certainly not a bad move. Actually, no, in my notes I say that Stockfish preferred b3 here, but in any case, I was still very proud of h4. So I've recently been putting in a lot of extra time into Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual, making a good dent into it now. And one of the chapters that I recently finished was the bishop and the bishop and knight sections, and it just kind of it really reinforced the idea of how important it is to put your pawns on the opposite colored square of your bishop. And if you notice in this position, both white and black have light squared bishops. So if I put all my pawns on dark squares, it kills two birds in one stone. It improves my bishop, and it also worsens his bishop because his bishop can't attack my pawns. In addition, by the very nature of putting my pawns on dark squares, it kind of restricts my opponent to putting his pawns on light squares, which is an even better bonus because I'm getting everything out of it. I'm getting my pawns on dark squares and his pawns on light squares. So I recognize that is a strategical positional thing that I should be doing here. And so I played h4, which does that. It puts my pawn on a dark square, and it fixes his pawns on, let's try a circle. Okay, circles work. It fixes his pawns on light squares. So I mean, it's not an advanced concept, but playing it over the board in a tournament game and recognizing that that's what I should be doing, I felt really good about it. It felt really good. He played bishop b7. And then I spent 8 minutes on my next move. It's an odd looking move. And again, I don't think I forget, but I don't think it was a top engine move, but it's okay. But it goes in accordance to my previous plan, which is again putting my pawns on dark squares and fixing his own light. So it's a weird looking move, but I played f4. So it's kind of strange because we're opening up this diagonal of his bishop. But again, I was just sticking with my game plan. So I played f4. He played rook a4. And you know what? As soon as he played rook a4, that caught me completely off guard because I did not consider that. Like, it didn't even not remotely cross my mind. And it really scared me because I'm like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. Fortunately, we have one move that protects f4, but it's kind of funny that I almost just drop a pawn like this. It's kind of weird, eh? So fortunately, we have g3, and it fits within our game plan. Rook e4. You know, how dare you? How dare you? Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. He's like, well, it's a decent move according to the engine, but it's a little strange, right? Just coming right into my base, and it's a weird, like I would never consider that, but yeah. Bishop g2, rook e3. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of weird, but again, the computer says it's totally a good move, but really weird looking. Okay, rook d3. takes, takes. Bishop a6. And then my next move, was a tough choice. I really wanted to stick with my theme of putting all my pawns on dark squares and fixing his own light. So I really wanted to play d4, but I really didn't like him playing, let's try the arrows again, playing bishop d3 check and rook f8, or sorry, rook c8, and getting all of that activity with tempo. So I played king c2, knowing that he's going to play his next move, which was d4. And so now he gets his pawn on the dark square and fixes mine to a light square. But yeah, I thought it was kind of a necessary evil, and the computer says I made the right decision. Rook e1, e6, king d2, rook c8. Okay, and then my next move, so I really wanted to play rook c1 here, right? But I lose a pawn. So I thought for quite a while here, and yeah, hang on, I want to see how long did I think here? Move 26. Okay, maybe it felt longer, but I spent 4 minutes, but I go from 47 to 43 minutes here. So yeah, I really want to play rook c1, but I couldn't because I lose a pawn. So alternatively, I was thinking of a4 with the idea of like to follow up with b4 or something. But then I couldn't think of a good solution after b5, a5, b4. And then my pawns are split. And my a5 pawn can't really be protected easily, and that looked awkward for me. But I was really trying to make that work. And like if I push the b pawn first, or b4, like b3, b4, then he has rook c3, which doesn't look good. And so I was really trying to make a4 work, but I couldn't get it to work. So I ended up playing bishop e4. Simply protecting d3. I can't, my throat's just dry, man. Simply protecting d3 so that I can play rook c1. Now, what I had missed, if I had just looked one move further, I might have found the correct solution. White can actually have a winning position if I had played a4. Oh wait, sorry, here. If I had played a4, so in this situation, I actually could have played rook c1 and given up my pawn, because we actually have bishop b7 winning. Bishop b7 winning, and I cut my calculation just a bit too short. If I had seen that, I would have certainly played it, because we're gonna win his bishop. And he's too slow to push himself. We can just block. We can just go king d2 here, or later. So yeah, bishop b7. That's what I had missed. So rook c1. Well, I guess the other thing is if he doesn't trade, well, then we've got full initiative there. Like, let's say he goes rook b8. I'm guessing maybe just rook c6. Yeah, there we go, right? Yeah, but we've got too much play there. So Yeah, that's what I missed. Anyways, yeah, I didn't see that until Stockfish told me. So I played bishop e4. He played king g7. And then I thought for 11 minutes on my next move, which was a long time because I went from 43 minutes to 32 minutes, which is a big chunk of time. And I was, again, I was still trying to make a4 work or rook c1 work. Rook c1 doesn't work now because of f5, right? So I was because I felt that white was a little bit better. We've got 2 pawns on the queen side with potential of a passed pawn. And so I felt, white is better. And also his black's bishop is kind of in zugzwang, essentially. Well, maybe not zugzwang, but it's misplaced. So, but ultimately I couldn't find a way forward. I still didn't see this a4 and then rook c1 idea. So I played bishop f3, basically resigning myself to a draw. Man, it's thirsty. Yeah, it was a hard concession to make because my opponent is rated 100 points below me and I'm white. And I've got a better position, slightly. But I couldn't find a way forward, so I played bishop f3. He played king f6, bishop e4, king g7, and, it's going to be a draw. Bishop f3. And then he plays rook c7. What the hell? He avoided my repetition offer. That was really weird. Again, I beat him in our first game. I'm 100 points higher than him. I'm white. I have a better position. And he declines the draw. Very surprising. And he didn't hesitate either. Very strange. I mean, no, it's not very strange, but it's a little strange, I think. So, played bishop g2, king f6, bishop e4, bishop b7, takes, and I make a mistake the next move. This was probably partly due to time trouble. I mean, I had time here, but I think it still has a bit of an influence over me. I was down to 23 minutes. But yeah, I played a4. Just forgetting about his king. So I think I just forgot that my bishop was gone. And then my bishop isn't therefore no longer covering the g4 square. So I should have just played king e2 to protect g4. And that was certainly a very basic mistake. So yeah, that was his king is now active, super active, and now I don't think white's better at all. I played king e2, king g4, king f2, rook a7, and then I made a blunder. Not a mistake, but a blunder. I made a game-losing move here, which is a very easy move. It's a very easy blunder to make, I feel. I think I would make this blunder very often online. I played b3, just protecting a4. Unfortunately, our king is overloaded, right? So he played rook c7, and I've lost the game now because surprisingly I can't protect b3 and c4 and c3, sorry, because my rook can only defend one of them, and my king cannot help because it's tied to g3. So it's just really, it's kind of weird that I'm absolutely helpless here, and I don't even have counterplay. Yeah, so I made a few more moves like b3. I'll just kind of play them out here. I made a few moves, but there was nothing that I could have done. you know, I made a few moves and then I resigned. And that felt bad. That felt, again, like round 2 when I lost, I actually didn't, it didn't bother me that much because I just got completely obliterated in that game. It wasn't even close. So I actually don't really mind losing that one. But this one really, it sucked because I had the slightly better position and I made a few, like, yeah. And he declined my draw and he played on. So just look at this again. So here I played a4, which was a mistake because his king gets active. But I didn't mention it, but white is actually, according to the ancient, white is totally fine here. White is equal. So I was actually okay here. I lost my slight advantage. But b3 just loses the game. And it's I don't know about you. Maybe you guys, maybe b3 looks like a total blunder immediately to you, but I was kind of shocked when he just plays rook c6 and I can't do anything about it. It's just so strange that, and again, that I don't have any counterplay. Like this is just completely losing. It's not like it's -1. It's like -2.5 or -3 or something. It's just completely losing. Yeah, it sucks. So let me just, yeah. So I lost again. I was 0 for 3. Again, so I spent $600 or close. I spent like $560 on the hotel, a lot of money on food, and then a lot of time traveling to the tournament. And I'm 0 out of 3. And I had 2 whites. I was white twice. Feels bad, man. But that's what happened. So 0 for 3, not a great tournament. It's been I play bad at tournaments, man. I don't do well, but yeah, again, that's what happened. So, well, stay tuned for round 4 coming up. And yeah. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with round 4 soon enough. Thank you.